Let's talk about Onyeka and her sister, Chizoba. Woo! The Chigbo sisters. I think that's their surname, right? Yeah. Or should we call them the checkers pair? Ex-pair. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched these two sisters yesterday, and see, yeah, a lot of things are just going through my mind, but I decided to just chill for a bit because I wanted to watch how things were going to pan out, and my speculations weren't wrong. So yesterday morning, they had a conversation where Onyeka was complaining about Ozee and Victoria. She was actually explaining to Chizoba the reason she was keeping malice with Ozee. She was complaining that Ozee was supporting Victoria and even going as far as protecting Victoria, that most of the guys, Sean, TJ, that they were actually protecting Victoria. Yeah. And that was really pissing her off. Yeah. Because according to her, Victoria is not innocent. I think there was even a very unprintable name that she had called Victoria, and that was quite cringe because it made me wonder, like, how did things go from 0 to 100? And you know, another thing that was pissing her off was the fact that ever since Monday evening that she had her issues with Ozee, Ozee had been spending a lot of time with Victoria, and that has been pissing her off. That has been really, really triggering her. So it's been making her complain and report Victoria to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the house that cares to listen. So they had a lengthy conversation over 10 minutes, right? Where she kept on ranting and ranting and venting and venting and venting. And her conclusion was that Ozee, being her friend, you know, should not be taking Victoria's side. You know, that if Victoria complained about something to Ozee, even though it's maybe 5 days later, Ozee should wait and listen to her own side of the story before Ozee makes any judgment about the situation. Now, the truth is, Ozee had not made any judgment because I listened to Ozee's conversation with Victoria. Victoria was, of course, venting as well over Onyeka's betrayal. You know, that she was shocked that Onyeka had actually nominated her. She did not see it coming, that she wasn't even thinking of nominating Onyeka. You know, so how did they get to this point? You know, she was just telling Ozee about how she had made several attempts to settle their differences, but Onyeka had blatantly refused and told her that the only way they would settle is outside the house, and that she wasn't going to be interested in anymore if Onyeka insists that they can only settle outside the house. That she doesn't even know what the problem is to even start with. She doesn't even know what the issue is. She doesn't even know what she has done to Onyeka. Onyeka just started, you know, keeping malice with her. Now, Ozee had listened to all of that. Now, it wasn't like Ozee was making heavy judgments, no. But for Onyeka, just the fact that Ozee was spending more time with Victoria and not her, she concluded that Ozee had made his judgment already. And that was really pissing her off. For her, you know, she's not going to give any energy to eat, blah, 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 blah. So she was just complaining and complaining and complaining. But then, fast forward to later on, after her diary session, when she had perceived that Biggie was angry with everybody in the house, and you know, there was this question that Big Brother was asking all the housemates during their diary session that, this is the 7th week. In the past weeks, do you think you've actually given your best to the competition? Yeah. And she had responded that she has been trying her best, that she's one of those housemates that don't sleep. Every other housemate sleeps in the house the entire day. You know, she was just trying to defend her work. The moment Onyeka got out of the diary room, it just seemed like she got a eureka idea that maybe her content with Ozee is actually something that the viewers liked. So for someone that had declared and made up her mind that she wasn't going to go to Ozee if Ozee doesn't go to her, ladies and gentlemen, immediately Onyeka had gone to Ozee to reconcile. Now, to be fair, we don't know who called who, but we know that Ozee was completely ignoring Onyeka. He wasn't completely interested at all in her banters, you know. Now, to be fair, we do not know who summoned who in that kitchen. Yeah, but what we saw was Onyeka clinging onto Ozee. And you know, Ozee is quite tall. So she was holding onto him and she was looking up to him like this, and she was rubbing his back. Okay, rather tapping his back. I was like, how are you? Are you okay? Are you good? you know, and she was doing it, and you could tell that she needed the cameras to capture that. Yep, she did. Because her sister passed, and the sister gave her a look or a sign, and she was laughing, and in a way, she was also looking at the cameras to see if the cameras was on them. Then the sister left the kitchen, and then she continued to tap Ozee on the back, and you know, she was just asking him questions like, oh, how are you? Are you okay? This and that. And then she was trying to explain herself over what happened. And you could tell that Ozee did not just have the strength to argue with Onyeka, also because of the fact that he wasn't feeling too well as at yesterday. According to what he had told Big Brother, he was feeling feverish. So he did not have the strength to argue or to have any banters or any back and forth. So they had moved over to the sink where he wanted to wash the plate he had just finished eating with. And Onyeka was still right there with him. And the guy was just explaining himself that, listen, if you think otherwise that I went about talking to your people, I did not, because I learned my lesson the last time and I did not want to have a repeat of that situation again. You know, the only reason I talked about you to people was because I was hoping that either any of them that was close to me or you would pass on my message to you. But this time around, I just felt like there was no need. Yes. So she was still explaining herself. But ladies and gentlemen, you could tell that that was Onyeka's way of bouncing back into creating the type of content she had created a whole of last week that she felt the viewers wanted to see. So I was watching that whole scenario play out, and quite frankly, I just could not help but give her her flowers. Because at the end of the day, these housemates are in that house to play the game. And that was Onyeka playing the game. But it was also quite funny that Ozee did not see that. Because for the rest of the evening, leading up to when they had their task, their sponsored task, Victoria was literally by Ozee's side. Like she had automatically resumed duty. And you could also tell that she was marking her territory around Ozee because she knew that Ozee would go and spend more time with Victoria. So she did not want that to happen. So in a way, Onyeka subtly, or should I say outrightly, started, is it an entanglement war against Victoria yesterday? So for me, what's my own? I'm just here for the entertainment. I'm just here for the content. I want to see how that's going to pan out. I want to see if Victoria is going to make any moves, you know, to penetrate that territory that Onyeka is trying to recreate with Ozee. Because that was what she and Ozee did last week. But this week, it seems like Ozee is trying to move away from her. But then again, we are not really sure. Because Ozee himself is equally a crafty and cunning person. Yeah, he's very calculative. So we're not really sure yet if his move to Victoria was actually genuine or because he was at loggerheads with Onyeka. If he goes back into his lovey-dovey mode as he was with Onyeka last week, then we'll know that he was only using Victoria as a rebound, you know, from Onyeka in the first few days of this week. So ladies and gentlemen, I am looking forward to seeing how that is going to pan out. Yes. Now quickly moving on to Chizoba. Listen here, I've always tagged whatever is going on between Chizoba and Ben as a rubbish, useless, stupid, nonsense, rubbish ship. Yeah. Because these people are trying too hard to give us, you know, a typical couple situation, but it's not given. I'm not feeling it. It's senseless, it's useless, it's rubbish. It's not giving. Yeah. So it was quite hilarious to me when yesterday Chizoba was telling Ben that she was going to give him space, you know, because he had actually made a statement that, oh, he feels like she's using him to play the game because she's always very harsh with him and snappy towards him. But when she goes to the Mbadwe twins, she's very sweet and kind and tender with them. Which is actually the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Ben did not lie. But even talking about this Ben himself, Ben is just very annoying because it's not like Ben does not know that his situationship with Chizoba is useless. It is senseless. There's no balance in there and there's no fairness in there. But he's still there, possibly because he thinks he's actually creating some lovable type of content with her. He probably thinks that the viewers are actually enjoying what they are doing. But then Chizoba was telling him that she feels offended, and so she's going to give him space, that it's not like she's skipping malice with him, that she's going to be talking to him, but she's going to give him space. And guys, it was just very glaring that Chizoba was actually playing emotional blackmail with this guy. Because last week, guys, we've actually had this conversation before. We saw how last week was a very horrible week for this girl. The Mbadwe twins completely ignored her. They were not giving her attention because she had issues with them. Even her own sister joined those guys to torture her in the house last week, play with her emotions. And Ben was the only person that was there for her. But then the moment she reconciled with the Mbadwe twins, she literally abandoned Ben, abandoned his bed. They used to sleep together. She abandoned his bed and started sleeping with the Mbadwe twins all together. So now that things are looking rosy on this side with her and the twins, she's now making up stories, you know, to make Ben feel bad. You know, she's just trying to stir up drama so that she will completely separate herself from him and spend more time with the twin brothers. So when she was saying all of those things, guys, listen, Ben was not even giving the right emotion self that one would expect for him to give. He wasn't even saying the right things that one would expect him to say, because you could just tell that, I beg, this thing is just dry, move away, you know. But it was very clear what Chizoba was trying to do. And that same yesterday morning, I think it was, I don't know if it was before or after she had had that conversation with Ben. She had had that conversation with Ben in the dressing area. Ozee, who woke up very cranky from Big Brother's noise, was at the dining area, and she had moved on to him, was forcing him to talk to her, to share his burdens, you know, to let her in on what exactly was troubling him. And he kept on shushing her away because he felt like she was actually pestering him. And she kept on forcing the conversation, but the guy wasn't feeling it. And then she was trying to play this, you know, blackmail thing of, oh, you don't want to talk to me, Abi. Oh, if I leave you now, don't come and look for me. Oh. And Ozee outrightly told her, well, I'm not going to come look for you. Go away. And she was like, no, nah, I did not mean it like that. And he was like, you're trying to play games with me. Listen, I'm not in the mood. Go away. And then she was now like, no, nah, it's not like that. Nah, that. Oh, yeah, call, let me hug you. And then he hugged her. Like, you could tell that whenever she's with them Mbadwe twins, especially OC, she's begging for attention. She's begging for affection. But when she's with Ben, Ben literally gives her all of these things that she's craving from those guys on a platter for free. No strings attached. It gives her everything, all of those things. A shoulder to cry on, a listening ear, all of those things. But with them Mbadwe twins, OC especially, it's like she's begging for it. It's like she's forcing it to happen. It's like she's forcing herself on OC especially. And sometimes it's a bit much for OC to handle. So I was looking at that whole scenario playing out, and I'm like, these sisters, it's like they are hell-bent on winning these guys as their prize, just in case none of them bags that 100 million. Because at this point, it's giving desperation. It's giving, it's a do or die affair. It's given by fire, by force. And it's not looking cute. But if it's for the game, well, let's wait and see how it pans out. And this is where I'm going to stop talking, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to hear your thoughts about both situations. So go ahead and share in the comment section below. I'll see you guys on another video soon. Thanks for watching and have an amazing day. Bye.